Hello, 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 hello. So I have started a painting here. It's actually a painting over a painting. It's one that I don't think would ever sell. It was a surrealism piece from my show at UE, University of Evansville last year with Leslie, one of my friends who's an artist. I didn't think it was one that would ever sell. I can pretty much know which ones are gonna sell and which ones aren't. Like this one that I painted over didn't have like really any interest in it. Like I got a few likes on it and you know whatever, but no one ever really reached out and said, hey, is that for sale? Or, ooh, I really like that. Or, you know, I didn't get like many comments on it or anything. And I just knew it probably wouldn't sell. It'd be better as an abstract. So I started painting over it. Oh, and by the way, you might hear my daughter in the background. She's in there talking to some of her friends on Roblox right now. So sorry about that. But anyway, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to, I'm just going to kind of walk you through the process of where this painting is going and what I'm going to do with it and everything. Here it is. I might have to move it up a little bit. No, that might work. That might work like that. Let's see. Yeah, that'll probably work. Okay, so I'm gonna, let me see. Is it still wet? Yeah, there are some, this first layer I have on there, some of it's still wet. I'm going to kind of smoosh it around a little bit so it'll dry faster with my finger here. Smoosh that around over here. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to start working on this from here on out. So let's just kind of move that around. Now, I think what I'm going to do is, I do this every once in a while. If I'm impatient and I want something to dry really fast, I just kind of like go over it with a paper towel, kind of blend it into the background. Kind of, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that, okay. I'm painting at my easel this time, my wall easel. Well, I call it an easel. It's not really an easel, it's a shelf that the painting is sitting on, and then this is adjustable. It moves up and down, the shelf does. So if I'm doing a really large painting, I can lower it. If I'm doing a small painting, I can raise it. So this has been like invaluable to me, this little getup of an easel type system that my dad put together for me. I told him what I wanted and he basically made it happen. He's amazing. My dad is amazing with that kind of stuff. He grew up, well not grew up, but he, in his adulthood years, ever since he was, I guess, like an older teenager, he worked in construction and he owned his own business for a long time. Or most of his adulthood, he owned his own construction business. And so he knows how to do all that kind of stuff. He built our houses growing up and he knows how to do like all things woodworking and all that kind of stuff. So he's my go-to person when I need something, when I need something that needs to be constructed out of wood or anything like that. He's who I always go to because he knows how to do all that. So anyway, I'm thinking from here, I need some lighter colors because this is really, really dark. And actually, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to see how this video is turning out with my daughter talking in the background. I might have to get off of here and get back on when she's done. Okay, hello, I'm back. I listened to the last video to most of it, and you can't really hear them in the background too much. So I'm going to go ahead and record and just hope that it turns out okay. So I'm going to take some white with like a little bit of burnt sienna and phthalo blue, and I mean a very, very little bit. This is mostly white, and I'm going to just kind of put some white on this around in different places. Yeah, just kind of smoosh it on there. I think that's become my favorite word, smoosh. I'm gonna smoosh the paint around. Let's see. Get some white down here. And when I say white, this is essentially white. It's like I said, it's got a little bit of burnt sienna and phthalo blue in it, just a very little bit, just to tint it, to give it a kind of a grayish blue tint, like a cool gray tint, I guess. Is what I would describe it as. So I'm just kind of, getting it going here. Okay, they're getting pretty loud in there. Hopefully this video won't be too annoying with them talking in the background. You can't hear her friends, but you can hear her. Let's see. So let's put a little white there, a little white there. Let's see, we need to bring in some more colors now. Let's see, what colors do we need? Oh gosh, my go-to magenta. I might put some magenta on there. It is one of my go-to colors. I've been trying to stay away from it somewhat. I'm gonna add some red or yellow to it, just a little bit of yellow to make it more of a red color. Yeah, that's more, I want it to be more red than magenta, so I'm adding a little bit of yellow to it. Yeah, there we go. All right, and I'm actually going to close my eyes and add some stuff. I'm closing my eyes right now, seriously. I'm getting new paint. I looked to grab more paint, but I'm like not looking at my canvas. Trying to get some loose expressive marks in there. You can try that if you want to. Just try closing your eyes. I'm gonna open my eyes now, but and build on what I have there from when I closed my eyes. That's a great way to loosen up, is to close your eyes and just have it the canvas with your brush or your color shaper or foam brush, whatever you're using. It just really, it's a great way to loosen up. You have no control over what you're doing because your eyes are closed, so you can't overthink things because you can't see what you're doing. So you just kind of just do it, My focal point is, it looks like it's developing over in this area. And I'm going to stop this. Let me put the camera in a different position. Actually, I'm not going to stop it. I'm just going to move it while I'm talking to you. Let me see. Is that better? I don't think you could really see this very good. Maybe that's a little bit better. Maybe that's better. Okay. I think you can see it better now. But I'm liking this red, and like I said, I added yellow to it. It's magenta, but I added yellow to it to make it more red, more of a true red. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm gonna get a little more magenta and add some more yellow to it. And let's see. They're just having a good old time in there, aren't they? Oh my gosh, her and her video games. Her friends and her. Seems like they're always on their video games doing stuff. That is playing, isn't it? No, recording? Okay. I'm going to put a little bit of red over here. And red right here. Like I said, my focal point is starting to develop over here on the left side. Over here. I'm feeling like I need some more variation in colors. Let's see. I'm thinking maybe add some white to this red and make a pink. Maybe add a little more yellow to it. Make like an orangey pink. Yeah, like that, kind of like a coral color. Coral, yeah. All right. Okay. Just kind of adding it around the focal point area here. And we need some of that red. I picked it up with my color shaper. I picked up some of that red to put up here, in that focal point area. Get some of this. I'm gonna add some white to that coral. And I'm sorry you can't see my palette right now. I know that probably would be helpful if you could see it, but the way I have this set up, it's not really working that way. I'm just trying to get all the paint off my color shaper here, all that coral. Just trying to clean it off with some random ways, in a random fashion. See there, I only have a little bit of paint left on it. So now, I'm adding a bunch of white to that coral to make a really light color. It's like a light orangey pink. And I am just kind of adding the color on here. And I wanted to say too, if you guys are getting a lot of emails from school, and if that's annoying you, because I don't know if you're like me, but I don't like getting a lot of emails from the same place, you know? It's like, okay, send me one email a week and I'm good, you know? And I noticed that school sends out a lot of emails. If you don't want to get all those emails, you can go into your settings and change it. I think you go to group settings and then notifications, I think. And you can change your notifications in there, the frequency that you get the notifications. So I've done that with some of my school accounts, other ones I've subscribed to. Just get like a weekly digest, you know. Yeah, because I don't know, I don't like getting all those emails. I want to be able to log in and see stuff when I log in, and, you know, I don't want to be bugged with a bunch of emails. And I don't want you guys to be, you know, bugged by them either. Because that's not fun to get emails when you don't want that many emails. So anyway, enough about that. I just wanted to mention that you can change your settings in school. Okay, I'm feeling like this is going pretty well. I need some of this color up here. I feel like it's not going too bad. Sorry, I think my arm's covering that up so you can't see. I'm just putting some of that pink over here. Okay, so now, let's see, what color do I want now? I think yellow would be pretty. Like a light yellow, like a very, very light yellow. We'll try that. Actually, I'm gonna mix some yellow with that burnt sienna and phthalo blue and a lot of white to get like a light yellow green. I'll show it to you. Can you see that? Yeah, light yellow green. That'll be pretty on here, I think. Oh yeah, that's really gorgeous. I love that color. We're gonna make a little arc over here. And I'm just working intuitively right now. You know, I'm not thinking too much about what I'm doing. I'm just kind of doing it. And I think I'll put some green down here. Mix it in with that red right there. Put some right here. Maybe it goes off the edge down here. Let's see. We need a little bit of green over here, this yellow green. And I think I'm going to put some of my marks in here that I like putting in my pieces. The little zigzags. I think I'm going to do it with this green. Let's see here. Maybe it's right here. So zigzags right here. And I need to reload my color shaper with some color. Reload it again. Because I'm not getting that color very strong on there. Okay, there we go. As you go along, over time, you'll develop some signature marks of your own. Like, I've just kind of started using these zigzag shapes in my last, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 paintings. And I'm really loving them. And I think I'm going to keep doing them. They kind of give the canvas some energy. I feel like they're energetic in a way. And almost like, kind of like, they can also signify anxiety, you know? Anxiousness. But I think they're more energetic than anxious, the way I use them. I think they just give off that energy. So I'm putting some of that green over there. Let's see. I know what this painting needs. Now this painting needs some black, which I don't use straight black, remember? I use a combination of phthalo blue and burnt sienna together in equal amounts. So I'm going to make some of that. Some black. So let's see here. Make some black. And I need to pull these black areas out up here. Because this is my focal point. So, and because this is my focal point, I want my darkest darks and my lightest lights to be in the focal point. Remember that from one of my other lessons I had in here? And that's just one way to pull out a focal point. There are lots of ways you can pull out a focal point. You can pull it out by using different textures, different size shapes. What else? By using saturated colors in your focal point instead of muted tones. You might have muted tones everywhere else, but then in your focal point you have like saturated color, and saturated color basically is just color out of the tube. You don't dull it down, mute it in any way. So yeah, I'm just kind of adding some of this black over here. Maybe I have a little bit of black there around those. Right there, there. I'm still working intuitively. I don't have any plan in my mind for how I want this painting to look in the end. Okay, we're just working intuitively. Use some black down here. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm liking it so far. Maybe some black down here. Maybe I have a little bit of my zigzags going over here too. Hopefully I'm not covering that up or you can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, so maybe some of these zigzags over here too. And I have a tiny bit of green poking through here from the previous painting that was underneath this. I actually kind of like that. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, but I actually do kind of like it. I could put that color of green. Well, I don't know. Maybe I will cover it up. Maybe I will cover it up in this light green color that I've been working with. Yeah, I think I will. I don't think I want that because I don't want like a whole lot of colors in my final piece. I usually try to keep my paintings to about, I don't know, maybe 5 colors. Keep them at about 5 colors. Now, when I say 5 colors, I mean like this red and then variations of that red with white added to it and then black added to it. And then this green with white and black added to it. And like, so tints and shades of 5 different colors. Not just flat 5 different colors, but different shades of those colors, if that makes sense. So I'm going to mix some red with this green. This light color in here that I had, that light green. I mixed some red with it and I got this beautiful gray color. Because remember, red and green, opposite colors make neutrals. So I'm going to put some gray in here. If I use some of this gray in different areas of the painting, it's going to really make my saturated colors pop. Yeah, just remember that if you really want your saturated colors to pop a lot, then use some neutral colors around those areas. So like I have some gray down there, put a little gray right here, maybe like that, gray right here, gray right here, gray here. So working intuitively, I am, however, even though I'm working intuitively, I'm also working with intention. And what I mean by that is I am cognizant of where my focal point is going to be, and I'm trying to work that into my painting, trying to pull out that focal point. So, you know, I mean, it is intuitive, yet I'm trying to pay attention to what I'm doing at the same time. So kind of a combination of intuition and intention. Getting some other colors in here, some lighter colors and everything. Let's see here. Maybe in here. In here. They are having too much fun on that Roblox. Let me tell you. Do your kids play Roblox? For a long time, we wouldn't let our daughter play Roblox because we were just worried about safety and stuff. But she's getting to the point now where, you know, we're thinking maybe she's okay to do that. All right, let's see here. I'm not liking that, what I just did, so I'm going to take it out. Bro, my phone's quiet again. Just creating different textures and areas of interest. And this painting is looking really dark. Other than my you know, the light areas, the light colors that I put in there. Overall, it's a very dark painting. And I'm not liking that because I'm not a big fan of dark paintings. I mean, every once in a while they're okay, but lately I've been preferring more of your lighter colors. So I'm going to go in here with some almost white. It's almost white. It's not white, but it's almost white. I've added like a tiny bit of like the magenta and different things to it. I'm going to go through here and add some of that white. Maybe we have some white over here. And it'll mix in with these other colors to add areas of interest. What I might do is I might let this sit and dry, let it set up and dry, and then go over some of the areas with glazing liquid, and then pull out my focal point again after I do that. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna take a break and I'll come back after it dries. Okay, I got my coffee and I'm ready to show you how I'm gonna finish this off. Okay, let's see. I'm going to block out, actually, let me get my brush. Give me like 2 seconds. Okay, I'm back. I got this brush. I washed it out in the kitchen earlier today because I used it to block out one of my other paintings, some of the areas with glazing liquid. So I have this, I think it's a 1.5 inch brush. So it's not a huge brush, but it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to add some white to this glazing liquid. And actually this has been refilled with satin varnish from Nova Color, which works great as glazing liquid, and it's so much cheaper than buying this golden all the time. So anyway, I'm just going to take a little bit of that out, put it on my table. I'll have to show you guys my table setup. I don't know if I've actually shown you that formally, but I have a big piece of glass on my table and I just use that as my palette. So anyway, I'm going to take some of this white paint and mix it in with this glazing liquid. I would say I'm mixing it 3 parts glazing liquid to 1 part white paint. Just straight white paint. And I'm going to, and I need some more white paint in there. That's not quite enough. Maybe it's more like half and half, you know. But I'm just going to take this and I'm going to block out some sections of this painting so that there will be some rest areas. I like to have rest areas in my work. Not all the time. I mean, I have been known to paint some very busy all over the canvas type pieces. I have done that too. But usually I try to have some resting spots in my work. So I'm just kind of like going through here and blocking out some areas with this glazing liquid. Maybe a little bit up here. And then I can go back in and add more later, you know. Okay, let's see here. Get a little thicker there. Maybe block out some over here too. Yeah, there we go. Alright, just block some of that out. All right, see how I kind of changed that? It kind of washed out some of these areas, and now the focus is more on this part here, and still adding a little bit. Okay, so that's how you use glazing liquid. About 50% glazing liquid and 50% paint. So I used white paint with that. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna wash out my brush. Okay, I'm back. Oh gosh, okay, I'm drinking coffee and it is like 10:30 at night. Believe it or not, I can drink coffee and fall right to sleep. Sometimes, not all the time. I have insomnia some of the time, and then other times I can't get enough sleep. But anyway, okay. And I love oat milk in my coffee. I don't know what you put in your coffee. A lot of times I drink it black, but if I don't drink it black, I put oat milk and equal in it. So, okay, let's see. All right, I'm going to add some black back in here because, you know, now that I have added some glazing liquid, I feel like I need to add some black back in there. So, see, this is just like, it's just like an addition and subtraction process. You know, you're always adding and subtracting things. So see, I just like subtracted that white out of there. I might put some more white back in there actually. Let's see. Maybe we'll do this. Okay, so. All right. Let's see. What am I needing now? I felt like I needed to add a little bit of black back in there. Let me mix up some more of this black. Remember burnt sienna and phthalo blue. Yeah, you can also use like burnt sienna and ultramarine blue or cobalt blue would give you a pretty dark color if you mix cobalt blue and burnt sienna. Any dark blue really is going to work to make black. It doesn't have to be phthalo blue. I just like phthalo blue. That's one of my favorite colors to choose from in acrylic painting. So just kind of adding some interest there. Same here, just adding interest, marks and whatnot. Okay. I'm liking this piece, but I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it yet. I think it's still really dark. I think I need to add a little bit of lighter colors. Maybe some of this pink I'll add. So I'm going to add some, let's see, very, very light pink over here. Kind of push that around. And kind of feeling like I have a lot of little blocks of color going on and nothing big, you know? I don't feel like I have anything big going on. So I'm just going to put some big areas of pink in here. Like that. Maybe right here. Maybe some red in there. And I'm kind of covering up my lines over there. That's okay. I can always put them back. Let's see. Maybe some red over here. And I don't want to split my canvas in half because see there, I'm kind of going right in the middle, right in the middle over here. So I'm going to bring it down a little further so that it's not right in the middle. So it's kind of distributed a little bit better. This is that red that I mixed with a little bit of yellow, or magenta, I mean. Magenta that I mixed with a little bit of yellow earlier in the video. So I'm just kind of messing around here, just kind of playing around with the color. Okay, I'm starting to like that a little bit better. It's still not where it needs to be. I don't feel like it's where it needs to be, but we're getting there. Add some light color over here. And I'm using a color shaper. I don't know if I told you that or not. I can't remember if I told you I'm using a color shaper for most of this. I really like these. They're very, it helps you get texture on your canvas by using these. It's easier to get texture. See that? See that thick area I put there? Now I can, like, you know, flatten it out some if I want to, like that, like so. Or I can just leave it thick on there. Either way. I'm just gonna take it up all the way up here, and here we go. All right, so it's kind of looking like a mess. I'm feeling like it's messy. I'm going to black out some more of this in pink over here, because I feel like I need bigger areas of color. Let's see. That helps maybe a little bit. And I feel like it needs to be lighter over here. So I'm gonna add a little bit of pink over here. See, it's pretty thick. The paint is pretty thick over here. And that's okay. I want to have some texture in there. But let's see here. Mixing in with that black to get a dark color. Okay. I feel like I'm needing some more of that green in there. One thing you want to do when you make your paintings is you want to have, I would say, this is just a rough estimate. This is just an example. There's no hard and fast number to go by percentage-wise. But I would just take a wild stab and say that 65% of your painting needs to be a certain color. So I'm going for pink to reach that number. I'm going for this pink. Most of it will be pink. And maybe 50%. Maybe 50. It would be more like it. But yes, I'm going to try and make 50% of my painting this pink color, which I've pretty much done. I might put a little bit of pink down at the bottom left. So you want about, let's say 50%. Let's say 50% of your painting to be one color. So see how I have this light pink all around the canvas. So I've got light pink over here, I got light pink there, light pink over here. So now what I can do is, next, you want your second color to be, say, I don't know, 20% of the canvas. So 50% is pink. I'm just throwing these numbers out. They don't have to be exact. I'm just giving you an example. And then like this this color right here, this grayish, cool grayish blue color, that can be my second most dominant color. So we'll have some here, we have some here, we have some here, up here in the corner, up here down in the corner, down here. Let me see, is this thing still on? Yeah, okay, I was just making sure the my camera was still going. So you want your colors to be proportioned in different amounts, if that makes sense. It's like 50% pink, 20% this gray color. Let's see, the red is probably about the same as the gray, probably about 20%. So you can have maybe a couple colors that are 20%. And then that green, there's just a very little bit of this green color. I might actually add a little bit more of that. So I'm gonna mix it over here. I'm adding a little bit of the black, the burnt sienna, and the phthalo blue with a little bit of white and a little bit of yellow to get that green color. Yeah, there we go. That worked. Put a little bit more right there and make it more dominant, or prominent, I guess is the right word. Put a little bit there. I'm gonna smush it around a little bit. Put a little bit there. Maybe some up here. So see, this green is not one of the dominant colors in the painting. It's what I call a supporting color. So since it's a supporting color, there's going to be less of it. We want enough that it makes an impact, but not so much that it takes away from the composition, the overall composition, the color composition and everything. Okay, so now I'm liking it. I'm liking it okay. But I feel like I need some darker darks and maybe some lighter lights over here. So I'm gonna take this black, and you know what? I think I'm just gonna go down the canvas like that. Let's get a big area of black. And I'm gonna kind of mix it up and make different colors with it too. Then I'm gonna take some red and mix with it. I'm gonna leave that little bit of green right there. I like that. And this is making a little bit of a purpley color when I mix it all together. See there? Kind of add some interest with that purple. Okay, and then I'm going to put a lighter color there. Maybe it goes over here like that. Maybe it comes down here a little bit like that. Hits that black a little bit. And see how I'm kind of also, these colors over here are softer, whereas I have hard edges over here. The hard edges is where your eye's going to be drawn to. And since that's my focal point area, also, I want my lightest colors in that area. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit of pink with some white. And I'm going to come in here and add some white to this, because this is going to be the lights and my focal point. So right here, because my focal point is like in here. And I'm going to put some up here, some of this color. I'm trying to vary my marks. I want some of them to be soft, some of them to be hard edged, and you just want that variation in there, you know? I'm feeling like next this needs some line work. And actually, I think I'm going to pull this white down a little further, like so. Add a little bit of pink to it. Like I said earlier, I think I need more bigger areas of color. Like I feel like that's what's lacking in this piece. I feel like it's all the same. Too much sameness is boring. So I kind of feel like my colors are all similar sizes, you know? So that's why I'm adding some of this white. I'll add some up here too, I guess. I want to break this up because I have too much sameness going on. I like that. I don't want to mess that up. I really like that part right there, that little swirly thing right there. Okay. Get some more white going with that pink. Maybe I come in here, add some white there, and here. Trying to break up that color. And something else I can do at this point is soften these colors with the paper towel. Because this is not my focal point here, so I'm going to soften these colors, soften the edges. And sometimes it looks good, sometimes it needs some tweaking. It just depends on the piece. Gonna make this a soft edge up here. Soft edge right here. Soft edge here. And there are lots of ways. I mean, you can go about this so many different ways. I mean, really, the sky's the limit, you know? It really is. Just kind of moving some paint around. So I'm liking the way I got my soft colors over here, and then my focal point, I got some hard edges. I think a brown, some kind of brown color would be pretty in this piece. So I think I might mix a little bit of brown. Like, I would say I'm mixing 4 parts brown to 1 part phthalo blue. Burnt sienna, burnt sienna. Yeah, probably about 3 parts burnt sienna to 1 part phthalo blue, and then I'm adding some white to it also to get a chocolate brown. Now I'm gonna add a little more burnt sienna to that. This is kind of like a, I wouldn't say, no, I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a coffee. I mean like a, maybe like a coffee color, kind of. You'll see here in a minute. Kind of a cross between chocolate and coffee. Alright, let's see here. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe take that all the way down there. Ew, got some blue in there. I'm going to soften that up. I don't know, I'm not liking that color too much. It looks muddy. It looks very, very muddy. Very, very muddy. That was alright, I guess. I was hoping for more of a brown. Maybe if I mix a little bit of magenta with a little bit of yellow and a tiny bit of phthalo blue, and I mean a tiny bit, maybe that'll give me more of a brown that I'm looking for. Yeah, that's more of the brown I'm going for. Alright, so I'm going to cover that up. Need a little more yellow in there. Since I'm doing this bigger piece, it's kind of hard to show you what I'm doing on my palette here. Since I'm doing a bigger piece, I'm doing it on the wall. There, that's better. That's more brown. That's more of the brown I was looking for. Something like that. So I'm going to put some over there. Up here. Up here. Mix that in. All right. Put it down here. Mix that in like that. Maybe it goes like that. Maybe I have some of my lines down here. Remember me talking about my lines that I like to do? I'm just mixing a bunch of colors right now. I'm mixing a bunch of colors together to just get some randomness going on. Maybe I'll put some of my lines down here. And they run into that dark spot. So let's see, let's put more, make them darker. Okay, there we go. All right, some of that brown over here. Put some of that over here. Okay. Maybe a little bit down here. Maybe like that. Some lines. Maybe some lines there. Maybe a little bit more down here. Okay, let's see. I'm feeling like I need a little bit of red. Yeah, maybe red. So I'm mixing magenta with a tiny bit of yellow to get red. And we'll just put a little pop of it right there. And a pop right here. Maybe it's wider over here. Yeah, we don't want all that sameness going on. Maybe just a tiny bit right here. Maybe it goes like that. Okay. Maybe I'm gonna take this and mess it up a little bit. And this one too. I didn't like the way that really looked. Okay. That's not doing anything. The paint's dry there now. Okay. I think the only other thing that's really needs is some more light colors. Some more white. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of that red to this white so that I get a very light pink color. I'm going to add it over here. And down here. Maybe I have some lines going on right here. Right here. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. I'm gonna let it dry and then come back to it. And I decided I didn't like this down here, so I'm blocking it out with some white. This painting is giving me troubles, and sometimes that's the case. You know, sometimes a painting doesn't come easily. I feel like that's what's happening with this painting. I feel like it's kind of just like not going the way I want it to go. So I'm gonna let that dry and then we'll come back to it again.